What's going on? Super excited to give you a presentation today about how to create generational wealth and financial freedom using OPM. I am about to give you a presentation that I gave a couple years ago that I've tweaked and updated about how to use other people's money to create financial freedom and wealth. OPM stands for other people's money. So if you're watching, scrolling, wherever you're at, we got people all over the world watching morning, evening, and night. Let me know where you're from if you're just joining. So let me know where you're from if you're just joining. Double tap the screen. I'm getting ready to give you a presentation about how to create generational wealth and financial freedom that I gave a couple years ago at a conference. So let me know where you're from. Comment the word FUND, F-U-N-D, and we will go from there, okay? Create generation, comment the word FUND, and we'll go from there. When you comment the word FUND, you will get something very special in your inbox that I'm very, very excited about. All right, here we go. Creating generational wealth and financial freedom using OPM. So the purpose of this presentation is to give you the foundational steps, the foundational tools to create and convince you without a shadow of the doubt that you are likely to create generational wealth. I'm going to give you a lot of giveaways. I'm going to give you a lot of takeaways. There's going to be three main takeaways of this presentation. But the biggest thing I want to give you and let you know about is you can do this. I promise. It may not feel like you can, but I promise you can create generational wealth. And I got all the platforms up right now, so just bear with me. I promise I'm going to give good information. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, type the word FUND in the chat box and you will get sent something very special to your inbox. If you are on X, check out the link in my bio. And if you are on YouTube, check out the description and you will get what I'm talking about. So, purpose. You can do this, I promise. If you're just joining me, these are live. You go in and out a lot, so people are in and out, so I'm going to be repeating, telling people to comment, like, let me know where you're from, and share this live with anybody who knows interest in real estate investing. So what we're going to cover in this presentation is talk quickly about myself, going to give you a snapshot of my business, give you my thoughts on the market right now, give you some mindset things, do some macro real estate investing, some micro things for you, top takeaways, and what's next. So a lot to get to. I know. Depending on where you're watching, maybe the evening, you may be busy with kids, you may be busy. That's fine. My goal is to have this thing loop. So I'm going to record this live, and then my goal is to have it loop and play twice. So if you're joining and you leave and want to come back or whatever, just be by your phone, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, X, all of the things, and you'll get all of this and three key takeaways at the end. All right, so quickly about myself. This is not really about me. If you're on social media, you probably follow me, maybe you don't. 36-year-old dad and husband. I'm super, super normal. I went from a W-2 employee thinking I was going to be working a W-2 employee job for the rest of my life to investing in real estate on the side to quitting my job and becoming my own boss to creating financial freedom. And I did that in about 5 years. And there's my amazing family and why I do what I do. So I'm normal. I got one pair of tennis shoes a year. That's maybe why I have couple dozen pair of Jordans, because I used to get one pair of tennis shoes a year. St. Louis, it gets like 100-degree humidity, 100-degree heat. 100% humidity, 100-degree heat. We didn't have our AC on in the summer to save money. So I didn't have a lot, but I didn't want for anything. We had food, everything, but we were just very frugal life, very frugal upbringing. So I took that and I created some pretty cool stuff. So here's kind of my path. Side hustle 2015, full-time 2018, financially free 2020. And this financially free to me is having more passive income on the first of every month than you will incur active expenses by the end of that month. So this is my journey. Your journey may be different, but what I'm going to talk about in this presentation, if you're just joining me, I'm talking about how to use other people's money to create generational wealth. I have done it, and depending on what app you're watching, I have all of them up right now. All you need to do is, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment the word FUND, and you will get sent something very special to your inbox. I'm very excited about it. And if you're on any other platform, just go to the link in my bio or head over to Instagram. But if you're on YouTube, in the description should be the free things that I want you to see. All right, so quickly about my businesses. Again, I'm just giving you some credibility here because there are so many fake gurus on social media. It is disgusting. If you're looking at someone on social media, I suggest you doing three things. Checking out, are they active in what they teach? Number one. Number two, do they do it at a high level? And number three, are their systems transferable to you? If any of those answers are no, I would not listen to that guru. Are they active, or did they do it 10 years ago? Are they doing it a high volume, or they do one a year? And are their systems transferable to you? By the way, while you're up here, I do have a book called Own Your Freedom. It's like less than $10 on Amazon. Check it out. All right, so here are my businesses. Faster House, we buy 250 to 300 houses a year here in St. Louis. Midwest Property Group, $50 million worth of rentals that I bought using none of my own money. Those two companies operate with none of my own money. Midwest Property Group and Faster House all operate on what I'm going to talk about in this presentation using OPM, using other people's money. Those two companies operate on what I'm going to teach you today. Faster Freedom is my education brand. We have 3.2 million followers on social media, which is crazy. Just got this not too long ago. We're on all platforms, so that's where the adds up. We just got our YouTube button, which is pretty cool, YouTube play button. But anyways, put that back. So that's cool, 3.2 million followers. So I did those two things. I flipped and wholesaled and bought rentals, and I started posting on social media, and it caught fire. I'm kind of an idiot. I'm not like a Filipino Ken doll like my friend Ryan Pineda. I don't have this rags to riches Phoenix Uprising story like my friend Kong Lee, King Kong. I'm just a normal dude from the Midwest, but people resonated with that. 3.2 million, in fact. Therefore, I created, out of necessity and out of need, a coaching program. I'm not even going to tell you about it right now, but I have one. And we only accept the best of the best, and we are creating multimillionaires every day. Over 1,800 students now in about 2.5 years. And then greater giving. With great wealth and responsibility and cash flow comes great responsibility. We started a legit 501(c) here in St. Louis, 501(c) called Greater Giving. Go to greater-giving.org and donate if you want. Anyways, this is about my business. This is what I mean when I say all the fake gurus out there. I saw somebody post the other day that I just finished my second wholesale deal. DM me if you want to learn how to wholesale. Come the fuck on. That is ridiculous. Again, you need to do this at a high level to follow somebody. If you're just joining me, let me know where you're from in the chat box. I'd appreciate some interaction, some double taps, some likes. We hit that button and it scrolls hundreds, or the heart button or the thumbs up. Give me some of those. I'd appreciate that. Share this live with anybody who knows interest in real estate investing. I'm talking about how to create generational wealth using other people's money. That's what we're going to talk about here. If you comment the word fund or go to the links to my bio or the description of the video, depending what platform you're on, you'll get a freebie there too. All right. So takeaway number one that I want to leave you with after this presentation is you have a choice. You can continue to go down the path you're on. There is nothing wrong with going down the path you're on. That is fine. You can work until you're 65, 67, collect Social Security at 63, get your 401k and IRA at 59 and a half, and then hopefully, your money doesn't run out before you do. There's nothing wrong with that. 99% of people do that. But there is another option. There is another choice. You can control your future. You can build generational wealth. You can create massive freedom in your life if you understand what to do. The only difference in you where you are now and you where you want to be is knowledge. That's it. You just need the knowledge. You haven't gotten the knowledge delivered to you the correct way, or maybe you're not ready to receive it, but you do have a choice. Be careful what you look at on social media. I'm not to pick on Meet Kevin. I don't know him. I'm sure he's a good guy. But every single video that he and most people post say the world's ending. I know we have our problems, but I promise you the world's not ending. I promise you that there are good people and a ton of good people, and not everything that happens means the world's going to end. Just be careful what you consume, because what you consume changes your reality and changes your perception, and your perception of your world is your world. But be careful. If you consume negative, horrible, bad, clickbaity things, now you think the world is horrible, bad, and clickbaity. And that's not what the world is. The world's an incredible, happy place. Don't get too caught up in what you see on social media. All right, let's talk about some mortgages. Let's not worry about the numbers down there. That was for a presentation. Like I said, I gave this presentation a couple years ago. I just want to show you that historically interest rates, and they're actually going down right now, but historically interest rates have been much higher than they are right now. So don't think that we're going to get back to this interest rate level. We are not for the next several years. And you do not want to wait several years to invest. So if you're trying to time the market, you are chasing something that is not actually a reality. We are going to be here the next several years. So just learn to deal with the current interest rates and follow people like me that create their own path despite what's in front of them. Interest rates, inflation, wars, election year, media lies all the time. We create a path through all that bullshit and we don't even worry about it because I have figured out how to make money actively in real estate, gives me a sense of financial security. Build wealth through real estate using other people's money gives me a sense of future hope and security. I build financial security through real estate, and I teach other people how to do the same thing. So I don't give a shit who gets elected. I don't care how much the media lies. Fox is full of shit. CNN's full of shit. They're all full of shit. They all want to scare you into watching and getting paid by advertisers that scare you to watching. I don't do that. I'm positive, and I know the world is an amazing place. All right, here's the current home value price chart. Now, this is in the way, kind of, but as you can see, prices go up. Real estate doubles in value every 15 years, and if you're just joining me, I'm laying the groundwork to talk about how to raise money and create wealth through real estate, generational massive wealth. That's what we're talking about. I'm setting the foundation now, and if you're just joining me, don't worry, I'm going to have this loop. I think I have this set up to where when this video is over, it will loop one more time, so it will play twice. It'll end, and then it'll loop and play again, so it'll play twice. That's my goal. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that, but I think I have the system set up to do that on a few of the apps. I have all of them up right now. So just be aware of that. So, and let me know where you're from in the chat box. Hang out with me. I'm giving you frees. I'm giving you free stuff right now. Type the word fund in the chat box if you like, and you will get sent depending on when you send it, you'll either get sent a free training about this, or you will get sent a link that will register you for my free training on the 15th of August, this month, 15th of August, where I show you how to create wealth by borrowing other people's money. It's like this, but it's a set presentation on how to raise money. Because how many of you have passed on a deal because you didn't have the money? Type 1 in the chat box. If you passed on a deal because you didn't have the money lined up, type 1 in the chat box. You probably passed up on tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past couple of years because you didn't have the funding lined up. Or you haven't even gone after real estate because you have the funding lined up. I'm going to teach you how to do that on the 15th of August at 7 p.m. Central. So you type the word fund, you will get sent a free training, but I guess here in about 20 minutes it'll be live to where you'll be able to register for that event. All right. So let's talk about macro. I just introduced myself. I showed you that real estate goes up in value. I showed you I don't care what happens in the market. Normal people can create wealth. I've done it, and you can do it. So again, let me know where you're from if you're just joining me. Type the word fund in the chat box, and you'll get sent a link to register for my live private workshop on how to raise money on the 15th of August. So these are three people that everybody knows. Jeff Bezos, or Bezos, I think technically, Amazon, Elon Musk, Crazy Man, Tesla, X, all the things, and then Zuckerberg with Meta. These are very, very wealthy people. If you're not going to listen to me, let's listen to them because they're going to be sprinkled throughout the presentation. So this is how they created wealth, and this is how you created wealth. This is takeaway number 2. And again, if you're just joining me, don't worry. This is going to loop and play twice, so you're going to be able to see everything. If you watch now, watch till the end. It'll loop back and play to here. All right, so this is how wealth is created. This is shockingly, surprisingly, sadistically simple. Creating wealth is all about leveraging debt to buy assets. This is how Mark Zuckerberg was over here, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. This is how all three of those guys created their wealth doing this. This is how I've created my much, much smaller, but wealth as well. This is how everybody I know that's successful creates their wealth. So this is a very foundational thing that I want you to pay attention to. So double tap the screen, and then let me know where you're from if you have not. So this is how to create wealth. It's called the ABCs of wealth. A stands for asset, B stands for borrow, C stands for cash flow. So what you do is you borrow money to buy an asset. You take the cash flow from that asset to pay off who you borrowed the money from. At the end of the day, you will own that asset. And you know what creates wealth? Anybody have any idea what actually creates wealth in this country? Any guesses? What's up, everybody? Any guesses what actually creates wealth in this country? Any guesses? What actually creates wealth in this country is assets. And if you don't have enough money to buy an asset, this is the hack. This is the secret sauce to wealth. To them. Do this one more time, then we're going to move to the next slide. If you want to create wealth, I guess let's start there. Maybe you all don't give a shit about wealth. Who knows? If you want to learn how to create wealth, give me a thumbs up. I know it's crazy. All the platforms are like delayed separately with comments. Thumbs up if you want to create wealth. Thumbs up if you want to create wealth. Let me see some thumbs up. If you do, this is what you do. You borrow money to buy an asset. That asset produces cash flow. You take the cash flow from that asset to pay off who you borrowed the money from. So at the end of the day, you borrowed money. They're paid back. You use somebody else's money to pay them back, and now you own an asset. It's that simple. It's surprisingly, shockingly, sadistically simple how to create wealth in this country. All right, this is how Zuckerberg did it. He did this exact same thing with Facebook. Exact same thing. So A is Facebook. That's the asset that Zuckerberg owns and created. B is Peter Thiel, who he borrowed money from, borrow. And C is ad revenue. So let's go through it one more time. Zuckerberg borrowed money from Peter Thiel to make and create Facebook. He started in his dorm room. It wasn't monetizable. It was like a side project. He got some real money involved, went into debt, and gave up ownership to get an influx of money to make it more monetizable and produce more ad revenue, and he paid back Peter Thiel and all the other people he borrowed money from. Zuckerberg did it with a freaking social media network. Borrowed money to make it bigger, better, faster, stronger, took the cash flow from it and paid off who he borrowed the money from. At the end of the day, he owned a portion of Facebook that made him one of the youngest billionaires, self-made billionaires ever. Is this starting to make sense? Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense. Thumbs down if you're lost and in la la land. But this is how wealth is created. And if you're just joining me, comment the word fund, F-U-N-D, in the chat box. And then check your DMs. You're going to get a link to register to my closed private training August 15th on how to raise money to create wealth. So we focus all on the borrow on that one. Give you like 10 different ways to raise money. It's very, very simple actually. So if you want to attend that August 15th at 7 p.m. Central, type the word fund in the chat box. Or if you're on YouTube, go to the link in the bio. Or if you're on X, go to the link in the bio. But Meta platforms, Zuckerberg, I have autoresponder sent up. All right, so that's cool, but I'm not smart enough to start the next Meta. I'm not smart enough to start the next social network. I sure as hell don't have enough money to buy X like Musk did. So what did I do? I leaned on what works. 90% of millionaires are created through real estate. So what did I do? I got into real estate by using the principles that I just showed you. Because the U.S. housing industry is so damn big, and this actually, I told you I gave this presentation a couple years ago. This is about 45 trillion now. So, in general, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, all of the companies I just named, their market cap, their company valuations are, I mean, this is 46 trillion now, so 45 trillion are probably about 5% or less of the total U.S. houses. The U.S. housing industry is absolutely enormous, so ginormous. So rather than going and trying to create an Amazon and a Tesla and a Meta, let's go where the money is, and that's through real estate. All right, so now this is how you do it with real estate, you may be asking. Again, double tap the screen, let me know where you're from. If you're watching, this is a presentation I gave a couple years ago. It's going to loop. So if you're watching and you missed the first 10, 15 minutes, it will be back because we're going to end this and it'll loop back again. It's going to play twice. All right? I think I have it set up to do that. All right, so what you do is you create wealth. And I guess the second time, if it's the second time you're watching this and it loops, sorry. But anyways, this is how I did it. The asset is the house, the B is the private lender in the bank, and the C is rental income and equity. So what did I do? I borrowed money to buy a house. I took the rent from the house and I paid off who I borrowed the money from. At the end of the day, I own the house. Just like Zuckerberg did with Facebook, just like Musk did with Tesla and X and everything he's bought, just like Bezos did with Amazon. Except I did it with one house and then scaled. You can do it too. So I borrowed money to buy a house, took the rent cash flow from the house and paid off who I borrowed the money from. That is we're getting more micro now. We're getting into rental properties. Does this make sense? Thumbs up if this makes sense. Again, let me know where you're from if you're just joining me. Double tap the screen, share this live with anybody you know that's interested in real estate investing. So let's get even more micro. This is how it's done, and this is how wealth is created, and this is how I did it. It's called the BRRRR method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and scale. Who has heard of the BRRRR method? Thumbs up if you heard of the BRRRR method. Thumbs down if you have not. Or maybe a muscle. Thumbs up if you've heard of the BRRRR method, or muscle if you heard of the BRRRR method. I know I don't have big muscles. I wasn't saying that I did. And thumbs down if you do not know what the BRRRR method is. It stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and scale. And this one method has allowed me to buy $50 million worth of real estate without using any of my own money. I have bought apartment complexes. I have bought single-family rental properties. I have bought a ton of real estate using this method, using none of my own money. Before I get into that, again, if you're just joining, type the word FUND, F-U-N-D, in the chat box, and you should get sent a link to register for my live, free, but private workshop on how to raise money on August 15th at 7 p.m. Central. I'm going to be in this room doing a similar thing. All right, so let's go through what the BRRRR method actually is. So what you do, you buy a distressed property. You borrow money. Remember the B? You borrow money to buy a distressed property. I'm putting this in emojis to make this as easily digestible as possible. You borrow money to buy a distressed property. Then you borrow money from that same source to repair that distressed property and make it looking nice. You borrowed money to buy a distressed property and fix it up. The next thing you do is you start to collect rent. A tenant pays you rent because you have a nice, beautiful property, and you start to collect rent and make this a cash-producing asset. The next thing you do is a little more complicated, but just stick with me. It's really not that bad, especially if you follow me on social media at all and the Faster Freedom Show podcast, which if you listen to podcasts and that are like not funny podcasts, well, this is kind of funny, but if you listen to educational, funny podcasts, you need to put the Faster Freedom Show podcast on your listen list. All right, so what we do here is you take your rented, fixed-up house to a small local bank. They will give you a loan to pay back your initial lender, probably a private lender. And again, if you're worried about raising money, you type fund in the chat box, or you go to the description if you're on YouTube, or the links in my bio if you're on X, and you will be able to register for my live, private, free training on how to raise money. But anyways, what you do is you go take your property to a bank. They will give you a loan to pay back who you borrowed the money from. So they're paid off. They're good. Now you do owe the bank money, but rent pays the bank back every month plus all owning expenses. Does that make sense? Can you type a 1 in the chat box if that makes sense? This is called the BRRRR method, people. This is how wealth is created at scale by owning rental properties. Double tap the screen there if you don't mind. You can double tap there too. Double tap if you don't mind. Borrow money, buy a house, fix it up, get a loan from the bank to pay back who you borrowed the money from and have rent pay back the bank. And boom, you own a house that creates wealth for you. All right, and then we're not going to get into this right now, but this is how you scale it. You create systems, you get into coaching and pay somebody to coach you because if you don't have millions of dollars of equity and net worth, then you need help. You haven't done it on your own yet. What do you think, you're just going to fucking wake up one day and create wealth and decide, I'm going to do it? No. If you actually want this, you actually need this, you actually are motivated, you need coaching. Nobody's successful without coaching. So get over your damn ego and get coaching. It doesn't even have to be me. Then you need to take action, increase your lead flow, and get extra funding, which is all we're talking about is extra funding on the live private workshop on the 15th of August. Type FUND, F-U-N-D, if you want to get access to that. It's free. Seats are unlimited. They're not going to fill up. If they fill up, it'll be the last day, the 15th. So you got time, but I'd register and put it on your calendar. All right, so let's talk about what actual numbers look like for this. So you buy a distressed property for $100,000. It needs $50,000 worth of rehab. So you borrow $150,000 from a private money lender or hard money lender, or insurance life policy, or an IRA, or a 401k, or a CD, or a money market account, all the things I'm covering. So you borrow money, $150,000, you buy and fix up the house. You collect $1,700 in rent, $1,750, and then you take this property to a small local bank. It's worth $200, so the bank writes you a check for $160, what I just showed you on the last slide, or 2 slides ago. Oh, shoot, wrong way. The bank writes you a check for $160 that you pay back your private lender that you borrowed $150 on, and you take the $1,750 and you pay back the bank and you own the house. That's what's happening here. You're borrowing $150 from a private lender, you're collecting rent, you're getting a loan from the bank to pay back your private lender plus interest, $160, $150, and then you take the rent and you pay back the bank, and you own a property that has 40 grand equity that's going to create wealth for you. And boom, do this 5 times, you're wealthy. Do this 10 times, you're a multi-millionaire. Do this 25 and you create a generational wealth, all without using any of your own money. Yes, it's hard work. Sorry, it's not easy, but it does create wealth, and this is how it does it. It's called the passive wealth trifecta, because I'm getting ready to show you numbers that are going to blow your mind. If you're at all interested in real estate investing, you need to watch the next 2 minutes because this is going to blow your mind. While you're getting your mind blown, well, that sounded dirty, but it wasn't. While you're getting the mind blown, type FUND in the chat box and you will get sent access to register for my private live training on the 15th of August, Thursday, how to buy, run, or how to raise money using none of your own money to create wealth. But anyways, passive wealth trifecta. This is how wealth is created. This is the third takeaway I want you to leave with. Over time, real estate value goes up. I showed you a chart earlier, and if you just are joining, which you probably most of you are, this thing's going to loop and it's going to play back what it played earlier. So this is going to loop at least twice. So if you're interested and intrigued and you have 10, 15 minutes, watch the rest of this and this is going to loop over. You could get caught up again and not miss any of this. So over time, real estate doubles in value. I showed you that earlier. So you buy this asset that doubles in value. Then you are getting the rent paid down by somebody else. So the rent's paying down the mortgage. So the property goes up in value. The mortgage gets paid down by somebody else. The difference in that value increase and debt pay down is massive, especially over 5 rental properties, over 10 rental properties. Einstein said compounding is the 8th wonder of the world. You're compounding your wealth through appreciation and debt pay down with other people's money. People, this is gold. Properties go up, tenants pay down the mortgage, plus you get tax-free cash flow. There is no other investment like this, and it's not even close. So let's put some numbers on this, right? $200,000 house, I just showed you. You bought it, it was a lot of work. Yes, I know it wasn't easy, but you can do it. You bought it, $200,000. It's worth $160,000, so you have $40,000 of equity, and you're collecting $250 a month in cash-free tax flow. 15 years from now, it will have doubled in value. So it'll be worth $400,000. You could potentially owe zero on it if you pay it down quicker, and you will collect $45,000 in tax-free cash flow over 15 years. That's just one rental property. 400 grand equity, and you've collected $45,000, do the math, over 15 years. In one rental property, it's all tax-free. Now, one is cool, 400,000, 45, but what if you did it 10 times? You will have $4 million net worth, which is enough to retire on in 15 years, no money owed, and you will have collected $450,000 of tax-free money. And let's say you got some cojones on you and you want to do it 100 times. Yeah, there you go. You can read the numbers, 40 million. All without using any of your own money. So I own $50 million worth of real estate. At the time I did this presentation 2 years ago, it was 40. So I own $40 million worth of real estate in 2022. It's 2024 right now, so that's going up to $50 million. But let's say I own $40 million in 2022, which is true, and had $25 million in debt. By 2044, so 22 years later, it wouldn't have quite doubled, because it would have doubled by 2037, that would have been 80 million. So by 2044, so in 22 years, I will have $100 million of value if I don't buy any more real estate again, and my debt will be zero. So I will have a centimillionaire, 100 millionaire, using none of my own money, and I spent 8 years buying real estate at this point, and I could have stopped. So I could have stopped buying real estate, and by 2044, which I will be 1987, carry the 3, 57 years old, and I have $100 million in the bank, or in real estate, which is better than in the bank. This is the power of real estate and rental properties. You can't buy your 100th if you don't buy your first, and you can't buy your first if you don't have the right knowledge. So make sure you're following me, double tapping that screen, share this live with anybody that's interested in real estate. I'm doing a live virtual private training on August 15th at 7 p.m. Central, where I'm going to walk through how to raise money, which is the very first step of all of this. It's free. Type the word fund in the chat box and you will get registered for that. All right, this is my buddy Cam. You may know him actually now. He's kind of making a name for himself. He's partnering with Brandon Turner, who all of you have heard of, I'm sure, on their education business. So I taught Cam, and then he went off his own, which is amazing for him. But he contacted me in 2020. He had a negative net worth, making 45 grand a year with 0 rentals. Now, he did most of this himself, but I obviously guided him and showed him some things. And by 2022, 2 years later, he had a $4 million net worth, 30 rentals, and made a lot of money a year. And by 2024, now, I believe he's got an $8 million rental portfolio of 65 or 70 doors, and he makes even more money. All because he was willing to follow the ABC steps. He was a coach in my program for a while. He was an acquisitions guy for us for a while. Now he has his own flipping company and his own education company. All right, so the 3 takeaways are, you do have a choice. And again, this is going to loop. We're nearing the end. We're not done yet, but this will loop. And you'll be able to watch this all again. Twice. It'll loop twice, maybe 3 times. You'll be able to watch this all again, all right? And hop back. And if you're back and forth, you'll be able to hop back in. So just hang out with me. But you have a choice. You can continue to do what you're doing, or you can create wealth and financial freedom. It's literally you get to choose. Very cool thing in the country we live in, which is better than everybody says it is. Number 2, debt creates wealth. If you learn how to leverage debt, you will create wealth. And number 3, real estate explodes that wealth. What's next for me? I'm going to continue to add assets. I'm going to grow more businesses, get to $100 million or $1 billion in assets and bring an NBA team to St. Louis. Dream big, right? This was part of the presentation. Same Faster Freedom. Follow me on social media, fastfreedom.com. Learn about my mentorship on fastfreedom.com. I'm not worried about that right now. So anyways, this was part of the presentation. So, oh yeah, and this is what you get in the mentorship if you do have interest. 7 weekly coaching calls, one-on-one calls, access to all our systems, customized plan made for you, 30-day massive action plan to get it started, access to the Facebook group, 400 videos now, and everything, discounts to capital, introductions to capital, virtual, midterm rentals, you get everything anyways. This is part of the presentation from a couple years ago. All right, well, that's what I got for you. Again, this is getting ready to loop. So stick with me if you're here and you want to learn more. What's happening in about 5 seconds is this thing should loop and start over again, and you can watch it all and learn from the beginning, because none of you that are watching now were here from the beginning. And if you're thinking about rolling out, that's fine. Type the word FUND in the chat box before you do that. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you will get sent a access to register for my live virtual event privately workshop on August 15th at 7 p.m. Central. I'm going to teach you everything about how to raise money. You're going to be blown away with the free information I give you. I can guarantee that. If you're on X, it'll link my bio. If you're on YouTube, check out the description.